So hello and welcome to another episode of Scenes 4 Wheels. Today we're going to be talking a topic that's quite close to my heart, and that is car shows. Now, I've gone to many a car show, some very good that I go to every year or every month or whatever it might be, and some that I've gone to once and vowed never to go back to. So today we're going to talk about what makes a good car show, maybe what doesn't make a good car show, and then I'll talk about some of the ones that I go to and the reasons why I go to them. So if I ask the question of what makes a good car show, the first thing that pops my mind is inclusivity. I almost feel like I could go to a car show in any of my cars, maybe bar the B-Class. We'll come on to that a little bit while I wouldn't go in that. But I could certainly go either my SLKs or the SL and feel welcome there. And I think I go to shows like the Footman James Coffee and Chrome event. I go to Chelsea Walsh just at the road from me. And it sort of doesn't matter what I take, I will be welcome there. And I think the other flip side of that is you get a massive genre of different cars there. You get performance cars, supercars. You also maybe get your little old minis, you know, your classic cars, and everything in between, sort of more modern cars, modern classics, and your classic cars, and even some sort of vintage cars as well. And I think for me that really makes a show, because you never quite know what you're going to find, and you never quite know what's going to be there, and it's a bit of a pick and mix, and it's interesting just walking around and seeing something that will catch everybody's eye. You know, there's something there for everyone. Now, obviously there are a few exceptions to this rule. Sometimes if I go to like the SL day I went to recently, obviously I went there in my SL, and I sort of accept that if you go to somewhere like that, you are going to be going to somewhere particular. You know, it's a particular event for a particular car, and I completely get that, and I enjoy them as well. That's one of the other things to pass comment on almost, so it's a good thing, a bad thing, is about letting everyday cars in some of these events. I do find if you go to something like Shell, they'll park you sort of up at the back if you've got a more an everyday car. Not really something like this. It's more like a sort of 1 litre Fiesta or whatever. You know, they'll park you a little bit more out of the way. And some people get a bit snooty about this, and some people don't like it, but then if it was me, I'd sort of would say, can I park? If I took the B-Class up there, I'd say, can you park me somewhere out of the way? I don't really. I'd rather have the space, give the space to someone else, you know, in the main sort of area. I also remember seeing a comment on a show that I went to called Worsterville. Now, I went to Worsterville, really great day, and they let anybody in, anything. You can come in, anything. It can be your daily driver, whatever. You can bring anything along, you'll be welcome. I think that's a really great philosophy to have, a really great show, and again, it made it so interesting. But I do remember someone commented on there, they had a Facebook group page, and someone commented after no one paid attention to my modern hybrid Hyundai. And I sort of do think, well, that's okay, but it's one of the things that well, again, going back to my B, I wouldn't show my B-Class because people see enough of them around. I think when I go to a car show, I want to see something a little bit more interesting. Which again, I sort of get that if that's your daily drive, you have to use it every day and you want to show it and you're proud of it, fine, I don't mind that. But if it's something like a 1 litre Fiesta, for example, at 1.2 Corsa, I sort of see enough of those around every day. And I suppose this is where the sort of argument, which I love seeing inclusivity in events, where's that cut-off point between something that's just every day, and where's you go and actually, you know, where's that cut-off for something that's actually a little bit more interesting? I think that's where the grey area is, and I don't really have an answer for that. I sort of like encouraging people to come along, but I do think that it needs to be something and they're a little bit interesting, a little bit different maybe. So I think the second point I'll make is atmosphere. I've been to a few shows where the atmosphere has felt a bit flat, and maybe just not quite much going on. Particularly, I've been to a couple of shows that were advertised as all-day events, and there's sort of nothing for you to do when you get there. And it's like, well, that's good, but once you've walked around the field of cars a few times, that's when it's sort of like, you know, there's not much else that you can do. And after a couple of hours, I'm getting a bit bored and wanting to go home or wanting to go somewhere else and do something else. So, of course, next thing is going to be cost. Now, I have been to a few shows, maybe once. I've thought, yeah, I can tick off my list, done it. And then thought actually it was quite expensive for what it is, so I wouldn't bother going there again. I think last year I went to Wadwood over at Bicester Heritage, and I didn't think it was that good value for money. I'm sort of I'm glad I did it, but I wouldn't go back. I think this year it's over the other side of London, and that's miles away from me, so I won't bother doing it anyway. But I just thought for about drink, it cost me about £27. I was there for about 2 hours, and it's like, it's an awfully expensive, even if you park in Oxford or London or somewhere, that's quite an expensive rate of hourly pay, basically, to park up your car there for a couple of hours. So I wouldn't go back there again, just purely because of costs. Other things like the NEC, I know people probably about the cost there, but I always have a good time at the NEC, so I don't mind paying the cost for that. I've recently booked up to Goodwood as well. I'm going on the Thursday this year, so that's about 2 weeks time I'll be down there. Never been to that. It was quite expensive to get in. I think it was like £70, I think, off the top of my head to get in. But I've heard it's one of the best shows around. I've seen clips of it and watched a bit of it on YouTube, and I sort of think, yeah, it does look quite a good event. So let's give it a go, and if I don't like it, I won't go back. If I don't think you're a good fan, I won't go back. But I might also, in the flip side of that, love it, and I want to go back every year. So finally, one of my other things that I absolutely love when I go to car shows is actually putting the chairs at the back of the car and just having a chat with people. It's amazing the amount of people you get talking to, amazing the conversation you have, and you find they've got a similar car to yours, and they ask for advice on the car. I remember a few months ago I went to Chelsea Wolves for one of their breakfast meet. I think it was a breakfast meet. Pulled up in this car to the old SLK, and there was a couple of cars instantly asked me all about it, because they had a car exactly the same. They had a slightly newer SLK, wanting to know about I think it was paintwork mainly, and how to get it done where I got mine done. Obviously I got mine done because we've worked in the motor trade, so I've got a bit of a trade discount, and since then I know they've changed the way they do their paintwork up there, so it probably wouldn't be able to do that again. So yeah, it was interesting having a bit of a chat with them, and you just never know who you're going to meet, and there's so many sort of lovely people that will just give you a compliment about your car, and then we'll move on, and it's really nice that some people just grab a bit of a chat with you, say a few words, and that's about it, and some people were there for 10-15 minutes having a chat with you, so that's really nice to see as well. So I sort of feel like I've touched a little bit upon some of the negatives there, not being inclusive enough, obviously ticket prices being too high. One of the other things I will touch upon is a comment I had when I had my bath. Now, I went over to the Stratford Festival Motoring, which is a fantastic event in the town of Stratford-upon-Avon. Used to meet up at Legends car park, go out for a little bit of a drive, and come back to the town and park up for the afternoon. Really good event. I always enjoy it, and sadly it's no longer running for whatever reason. And I always remember someone passed a comment to me, your car's nice, but it's not a classic. And this is something I get a bit sort of uppity about, because I don't think it matters. I think there's a whole separate conversation to have here about actually encouraging younger people into cars. And I sort of remember cars like this SLK when I was growing up. I was born in 1992, kids around my age. And I remember cars like this. I remember like similar cars like Mark 1 Boxers, Mark 1 Audi TTs, MGFs. So I remember those sort of cars from growing up. And I'm probably I remember them more than I remember my SL. The SL's a dream car, but I like that car because it's a dream car, not necessarily because I grew up with it. There's different reasons. I know a lot about Mercs. I love the design of it, and you find a little bit more about the R107 SL and the sort of iconic status that it has. It's sort of more of a dream, more of an aspiration, rather than something that I actually grew up with. And I think, again, if we're going to get younger people into this, why are we saying that you have to have cars pre-1980 or pre-1990? Why aren't we encouraging younger people who maybe have cars that are newer? Maybe younger people probably don't own an older car, don't have a classic car like I do. Maybe they want to come in something slightly newer, and then if they come, they'll discover lots more about older cars. Maybe then they'll get into the classics. But they sort of probably feel more comfortable coming in something more modern classic and owning that first before they jump into the world of classic car ownership, for example. Sort of touching on that topic, I remember a friend of mine who owns a 55 AMG, 172 55 AMG. He had an argument with a bloke because he think the bloke said his car wasn't sort of special enough to get into this show. And my friend sort of said, he has got a hand-bought AMG V8, and the bloke didn't believe him. And he actually ended up getting out of the car, lifting the bonnet up and showing the engine to this bloke who had to sort of eat some humble pie after that, and it was quite embarrassing for him. Yeah, because he obviously didn't quite understand it. I think some of it is ignorance, and unfortunately, there is a bit of ignorance out there in the world, and people make these summaries about cars without actually finding out the full facts. I think having owned my Abarth before, that's sort of very much the case. People used to see it as a Fiat, which it wasn't, because again, that's a whole different topic. We can spend a whole episode talk about that. And yeah, there was sort of snootiness about it. Actually, it's only a little Fiat, you know, and people didn't necessarily understand it. So some of them will be different. There will be some more sort of driving videos coming up soon. I'm going to do a few various different things. There'll be some more car show reports coming up as well. So I'm going to end it here for now. If you have any comments about car shows or experience you've had a car show, be good or bad, please do pop them in the comments below. As ever, pop a like in the video if you want to see more of this sort of type where I sit there and have a little chat with you. It's something I'm sort of trying out at the moment. Sort of mix them in with some of the other videos that I do. And as ever, hit that subscribe button. I've just ticked over 500 subscribers, so thank you very much for everyone that has subscribed. I'm sort of already pushing now towards 1,000. This is the one thing with YouTube. I love the people behind it. I love speaking to you guys, but I'm also very conscious that YouTube is a numbers game. As horrible as that sounds, it is a numbers game. And you're always focusing on that next sort of set of numbers, and as I say, I'm already focused now on getting towards 1,000. So again, thank you for everyone who has subscribed to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. So it's going to be goodbye from me, goodbye from the SLK, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.